Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. We need to really have a conversation about Beterbiev and the cocktail and the secret society doing what they do best, making sure whatever their goals are, whatever their objectives are met by all means necessary. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, when you look at Beterbiev testing positive for HGH, and there was something else, it's all wordplay when they come out and tell you, oh, it was an atypical finding. You got to understand there's very intelligent people who are involved with boxing, and they have very intimidating people who are there behind the scenes. And when they come together, they're going to make sure they present to the fans some kind of explanation. It may be acceptable, it may not be acceptable. But what I'm going to tell you is, I like Beterbiev. You can't question him. The man's a monster. People talking about, oh, he's 20 professional fights, 20 knockouts. He's got to be on the cocktail. What I'll tell you is he was knocking people out as an amateur, right, with much bigger gloves. And in his sparring sessions as a pro with 18-ounce gloves, he's knocking people out. So obviously he's just one of them guys who is extremely strong. I had a friend like that growing up. I remember I hadn't seen these guys. I was like 23. I left when I was like 17, and then I returned back home. I was like 23, and I ran into all the cats I grew up with from junior high school, elementary, junior high school. And I knew that my one friend, I knew that cat was just a strong guy, man. You wouldn't know it looking at him. But that joker had that one-hitter quitter. And he rushed me when he saw me. He was like, oh, shit. And he rushed me to it was my brother and I. He rushed to grab us, to hug us and shit, man. And that motherfucker's forearm hit me. And he didn't realize, but I remember saying, yo, even his damn forearm, you know what I'm saying, got power, you know what I'm saying? And it was just a graze. But, some people, they just, I don't know if the word is like, the bones are very dense. I don't know if that's the right word to describe it. But what I'm telling you is with Beterbiev, he's obviously built like that. You look at him, and he looking simple to most people. But that joker, let me tell you, that appearance, don't let that fool you. Heavy hands are heavy hands. People who are just naturally strong are naturally strong. There's no way to explain it. You're just born that way. But what I will tell you is, I do think when you have a fighter like Beterbiev, who, you see, he's out here, he's not just tranquilizing people, he's destroying them, man. But he has a very high IQ. And he doesn't mind the mash-up, crash-up. He knows if he can touch his opponents, they will change their mind on being in the ring with them. So we got to understand, because we just saw Ismael Barroso against Rolly Romero and then get in the ring with O'Hara Davis. He's another one of those guys. Same situation. You're looking at him. You're looking at the age of Beterbiev, and when they hit people, bad things happen. For the opponent, good things for them. But what I will say is, this wordplay on a typical finding, look, there are things when it comes to drug testing. There are instances where there may be an atypical find. Now, the reason I have an issue with this whole thing with Beterbiev is because Eddie Hearn and those guys knew months before that there was an issue with the blood and urine test. And they wait to fight week to come out now and bring it up. Now, Eddie Hearn's smart. He's a good promoter, fast Eddie. He knows just what to throw out there to the world to get people talking. And what I will tell you is, that did get everybody talking, and it still has people talking. But I do think there's something funny about Beterbiev. I do. Because let me tell you something. Certain things just don't end up in your system. Now, they came out and said Beterbiev just naturally has elevated levels of basically like testosterone. And that's why I said, he's just a natural walking cocktail. If this is the explanation you want me to accept. So I went out there and I was like, okay, let me understand this atypical finding stuff. And it's basically when there's a test taken and it comes back saying there's certain things in your system that weren't. But if they would have said that he was taking a certain medication or something, then I could have a better understanding of why he tested positive for what he did. But this right here is just an example of different medications that a person can take that can cause an atypical finding or a false positive. And this is showing the substances that may show up on the right side. So the left side of the medication, the right side is showing the substances that may show up as a result of taking the medication. But when we look here, you're looking at amphetamine, methamphetamine, opioids, PCP, THC, barbiturates, and the list goes on and on. But what I'm getting at is, I would love to find a chart that talks about different medications a boxer can take, or anyone can take, where it may show up with HGH or the other thing that his test came back positive for. See, then I could kind of accept that and be like, okay, well, he was taking this medication. But that's not what they said. They just want us to believe that this man is half man, half machine. And I ain't so sure that I want to accept that. Now, we know that Beterbiev and Bival's already signed his part of the fight, worked out and negotiated his deal with the Saudis. The Saudis want Beterbiev. Beterbiev wants to fight. They've already had some discussions, but I don't think they've put ink to paper yet. But it's coming. And with a fight of that magnitude, right? I don't care what y'all say. Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Bob Arum, the Secret Society, they're not going to let this fight fall apart. Because could you imagine if the right thing was done? Because I'm going to assume that there's some shady business here. Like, y'all got to understand. I want to make sure I explain this to y'all. Because there's a lot of people who will come on here and will comment on the videos. And I could tell that a lot of them have no experience dealing with situations, dealing with people. And they just come off emotion. They like to try to, question a person's expertise. And then they provide their false expert opinion, which I don't even respond to most of the time because they're not qualified to even comment. I am telling you, with me, 25 years of dealing with people and bullshit. Let me give you a true story. It's a true story about how the secret society works. I was in a situation where I had, in my section, right, in my office, there were about 24 workers, right? And they were all going outside of the office, and they were talking to my leadership, people above me who could affect my career, right? And they were up there saying all kind of craziness, right? So this is what happened. They called me to talk to me, and when we were having a conversation, and they were being cordial and everything, but I'm the kind of person that cut right through the BS. I said, listen, how about this? I said, if you want me to give my side, of the story and why people are complaining. I was like, no problem. I was like, but it's going to make them look crazy because they're not giving you the whole side of the story. So I told them everything, and I had all my documentation, everything, and emails, everything. So basically, those are weak human beings who just want to get out of doing their job. I made them all look crazy. And not because of me talking, I just said, here's the email traffic. I had documentation that said, here's this, here's the counseling, the reprimands. This is what you don't see, and this is why. So after they looked at that, they said, cool. But let me tell you how they did me now. They said, okay, we're going to play the game. And what I'm telling you is the truth. They said, we need you to go in there and apologize. I said, for what? They're like, we just need you to go and apologize. And we're going to come in there with you. And then after you apologize, we'll take it from there. And we're going to let them know that basically they can't come over here and say things about you unless they're going to get the whole story. And now we had a whole story. But we just want to make them feel like their voice was heard and that their voices are valued and their feelings, make sure they know that their feelings are valid to us. But you're not in any trouble. We know that those are just, this is just that entitled generation. And there's nothing you can do about that. And I looked at these guys like, so you basically want for me to look like I'm wrong, for them to look like they're wrong, but at the same time make them feel like they're getting what they want, and at the same time make me feel like you're protecting me. All because at the end of the day, what was their biggest concern? It was their own asses. So they wanted, if any of them entitled as subordinates of mine, if they went above their heads, and they see that's where shit can really hit the fan. If they went above their heads, then they could say, well, no, we handle it at our level, and we counseled this guy, and we had a conversation with them. So that's what they were doing. They're playing chess because they ain't so worried about me. They worried about themselves. So when I see shit like this about Beterbiev and whether he's guilty or not guilty, they're going to come out and spin it like we recognize something's off here, but at the same time, there seems to be an explanation. However, we're going to go ahead and move forward. We'll just keep an eye on this and get some more information about this atypical finding. That's the same crap those fools did with me and that team. They want to make sure that for everyone who's concerned, they give them offer some kind of explanation to quell them and settle them down. But at the same time, nobody gets punished. And the party goes on. And so now you look, you're dealing with big money here. We were dealing with small money, but these guys dealing with, 10, 20, 30, 40 million. We're dealing with people possibly losing stripes and shit like that and getting demoted, losing a rank, you know what I mean? That could come out to a few $1,000s. But now you're talking about millions. I think the secret society not going to sit there and make sure that doesn't get derailed. So with me, and I watch this stuff, sometimes I may not explain it as good as some people need for me to, because when I'm talking sometimes, I try not to, but I will make an assumption that majority of people, they get the gist of what I'm saying, but there's some who just don't get it. They're the ones that get on here and put the fur, and talk with all that slang and acronyms. I don't listen, and abbreviation. I don't know what that shit means. Y'all gotta understand, man. I'm from the old school. You gotta use proper grammar. All right, you expand your vocabulary. I don't understand all this. Somebody was talking about the hat, the blue hat they put on here. No hat. I'm like, what the hell is no hat? I still ain't figured that one out. But anyway, Beterbiev, the cocktail, I think there's something fishy here. And the reason I think that, not because what Eddie said, not because what Bob said, not because of these articles being published out here on these different websites. I think that because I listened to all of them, I read the articles, and pull from my own experience. And I'm like, this is just a situation where people, they have something they want to take place, which is that undisputed distinction, and they just could not let Bivol get stripped of his WBC belt or all of his belts. And then now all the belts get fragmented and you have different people fighting for him. Smith probably would have still been able to fight for him, but they knew he would have lost. So now the belts go vacant. Then you have a bunch of different people fighting for him, and now Bivol gets put back into a holding pattern. You know how hard it is to get to the point to where you have an opportunity to make an undisputed distinction? I saw somebody talking about, they need to strip him. They need to, Beterbiev doesn't need those belts. They need to take all the belts from him. Yeah, sure, kid. Secret society not trying to hear that shit. They ain't taking nothing from him. They're going to go out there. Everybody going to make their money. If he wins, he wins. If he loses, he loses. And then they move on. Watch how they treat Bivol and Beterbiev. Watch how they treat the loser. Y'all think I'm playing. They already don't like Bivol anyway. People talking about WBC sitting there, man, with all that bull crap. Should have been made this undisputed distinction. Remember, Caleb Smith, it came out of nowhere. It was made mandatory. Y'all know the Secret Society, all that work and effort they put in to have him rise above everybody else, put him before Bivol. You know, the undisputed distinction, normally, you would think it would take precedence. But the WBC blocked that. So that's been going on over a year now. You think they're going to come after all that work that they did, throwing their muscle around to get Caleb Smith an opportunity? Y'all think they're going to sit there and allow something to derail all that? Nah, not at all. Fight had to go on. And the next fight, the subsequent fight with Beterbiev and Bivol, that had to take place too. That being said, I wish there was more information on this to give us a better explanation, but to me, it sounds like someone didn't hold their horses. They're taking it to the stupid because the Secret Society needed that fight to go forward. They didn't need no mumbo jumbo when it comes to the belts. And we are where we are at this moment. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.